start off with this. I picked up a part-time job, just in case anybody wants to know, and that's firing up the fans for any contest that we may have. Had a good time, Wes and I, so I want you guys to know this. Think about this now. It was a great margin, not to take away the football team because they played very well. I think Wes and I had a little bit to do with the margin of victory. It is great to see everyone. I've seen most of you guys running around for football and throughout the summer, and honestly, I miss some of you guys. I haven't had a chance to get a few questions from some of you guys, so I miss you. Been a really busy off season, and what I mean by that is anytime that you bring in 8 new guys, and we got a couple of different staff members, and I think our staff has done a tremendous job of hitting the transfer portal, which we knew we had to do when we were going to lose so many important pieces that we had. But I like our team. We're new. The advantage of this team is that they are new, and so most of these guys are coming in as sponges and are excited from moving at their last stop to having the opportunity to play here in our style of play. A lot of them are very grateful to be in the ACC. The disadvantage is that we got new guys and we don't have the foreign trip to take this year as we did last year to be able to get some of these guys up to speed. And so we've done a little bit more competition stuff in practice, a little bit more 5-on-5, trying to get those guys up to speed a little bit in our 4 hours that we've had a week. And now on Monday we get an opportunity to start full practice. So I'll take questions at this time.
Kevin, we saw MJ Rush's statement that he made earlier this week. What does it mean to know that you'll have him back with the team soon, and do you have an expected timeline of when that should happen? Yeah,
we do not have a time. And if you go back to his statement, it was, he's off for personal reasons, and it's going to be kind of on MJ when he decides to come back.
What kind of bonding experiences can y'all have without the trip? Obviously, what are ways you can bond together?
Yeah, we're going to later on in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to take a trip. We typically go to Wilmington and practice and get away a little bit. We're trying to have as many, we've done paintball. We're trying to go out. We use the tailgates as a great example for our guys to get together and have a good time. So the more we can grow off the court, the better we're going to be on the court. But we take every opportunity that we can just for these guys to be able to hang out and laugh with each other. We've completely, I don't know if you guys had a chance to come through the lounge. We've completely redone the lounge so we can get back to hanging out in the lounge. We put a couple PlayStations in there where they can play and have fun a little bit. And so it's important that we just grow together.
You mentioned Wes. It didn't look like he wanted to give you that microphone the other day. Did I read that right?
Well, first of all, when we said there was one mic, I looked at him and said, all right, Wes, here's your deal. You got a chance now. You're going to steal a show. You do it. I'll just follow your lead. We get into the tunnel, and he's like, man, I'm going to only talk for 30 seconds, and I'm going to hand you the mic. It's like, come on, Wes, that ain't like you to pass up the show. But we had a great time. We talked about it a couple of days leading into it. It was exciting. We decided to go with the football jerseys, and I'm an old quarterback, and Wes says that he's an old receiver. And so we talked about, hey, us throwing a pass, and I was like, Wes, that will never happen because I'm going to throw the pass. It's not going to be very good because I ain't thrown a pass in 20 years, and there's no way you're catching the pass. So, pretty good.
Are you more used to, you're kind of hiding behind the cameras in the back there, you're more used to kind of the transfer portal now and what that takes, and obviously you had a lot of success last year with it, so kind of, what was it like going through it another time, and what do you expect to come out of it?
Yeah, I'm more used to college basketball. I think I said last year that I don't know if there will be many guys that start as a freshman at that university and end up, staying there to graduation. Last year we had 4. This year we have 7, and obviously you had one more with Dennis Parker as a freshman. But I don't know if I'm gonna ever get used to it, but it's where we are today, and we have to get up to speed really quick.
Do you think, last year with Jarkel and DJ, for example, like just home runs, is that fair? Should we expect that kind of results again? What's fair?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, you give me Jarkel Joyner and DJ Burns every year, they are home runs. I looked at it last year. It's funny because people will rank the top transfers, and I don't think either one of those guys were in the top 50. But for us, they became McDonald's All-Americans. I mean, they were really good. You talk about Jarkel Joyner, he had career highs in every category, transferring from Ole Miss coming here. Had a great year for us. And then, unfortunate thing with Dushan Mahorshi getting hurt, DJ obviously got a chance to go into the starting lineup. We played him about 30 minutes a game after that, and man, the legend of DJ Burns was born. And I mean, he is, he's gonna be mayor of this city one day. He is what he is. And so those two guys were really good. It's unfair for me to say whether I have a DJ Burns and a Jarkel Joyner, because we didn't know that at the beginning when we got those guys, but hopefully 2 or 3 guys will turn out to be just as good as those guys are.
How do you see the point guard and power forward spots?
Say it again.
How do you see the point guard and power forward spots?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of
Or
competition.
small ball four?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of competition. I think, you got Mike O'Connor, who has played a lot of basketball at Power 5 that can, obviously play the point. DJ Horn, who is in the same situation, but he's been more of a combo guard his whole life. Then you got 2 guys who, completely had to play against Jarkel Joyner and Terquavion Smith, and Breon Pass and LJ Thomas. And so we got a lot of options. I don't know who we will go with ultimately at the end. And then power forward, we got a lot of options too. We could play big. I mean, we could go back to the fact when, we had, DJ Funderburg and Manny Bates playing, because I love what Mohammed is bringing. I love what Ben brings. And then you got Dennis, and then you'll have an opportunity to play MJ at some of those positions also.
What has DJ Horn brought to his team, both on and off the court?
DJ, it's always great to get a young man to come back home. And he's here, and he's been positive, and he's been great. He's older. It's a great older guy to have in your locker room, let alone his ability to score the basketball. He will put you a little bit in the mindset of Terquavion and Jarkel, because he's a really offensive-minded player.
What are your thoughts on ACC expansion? Maybe would you like to see a situation where football doesn't dictate the alignment of basketball, baseball, and so on?
Yeah, it's been a lot of conversation. A lot of you guys have conversations about that. Here's what I'll say from where I sit as the basketball coach. I trust in Chancellor Woodson and Boo Corrigan to make the decisions that are best for NC State and also best for the ACC. I don't get a chance to sit in those meetings. I'm the basketball coach. I gotta put the best product on the floor for NC State, and whoever we play, we play. I mean, that's just the way I look at it.
There's been talks, kind of building off of what Rob said, there's been talks about the fact that sports like basketball and Olympic sports as well could look to go more regional and not allow football to kind of dictate those schedules. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, I don't, it's for us, it's completely a different ball game. And so I don't get the opportunity to see the other sports and how they travel and how many times they play. And so it would be completely unfair for me to answer those type of questions, because I don't. Like, I'm really literally, when you want to talk about low man in this situation, I'm a low man in this situation because I don't have the opportunity to have those conversations.
Go back to those options at point guard and power forward. Not necessarily those positions, but as a team overall, what does it say about the depth to have so many guys that could be contributing at some point?
Yeah, I think we have possibly 10 guys that we can put in the game. I think I won't make hockey substitutions where we go 5 and 5, but I do think that for the first time in a long time that we have 2 point guards, 2 shoot guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, 2 centers, and then obviously we've got a lot of interchangeable parts that can play different positions.
Maybe in time we'll look at this as an anomaly, but when you see what Deanna done in Colorado and then what Coach Tang did at Kansas State and a no blue blood Final Four, does that kind of play with your mind a little bit about how things have changed?
No, I think those guys have done a tremendous job in their first year, and I think that's important. You want to come in and you want to build your first year. Go back to my first year. We had a great year. You just got to keep building and you got to keep on working. But I think when you bring up those 2 guys, I think they've done a tremendous job. They brought excitement to their job, to their fan bases, and I think that's what's important.
You talked about how well your first year went, and then of course we had kind of a dip because of just whatever situations. Last year really good year. With this roster, with the depth that you talked about, is that the best case scenario for this team to build off of such a great season?
Yeah, we've had some great things happen here. You know, I know a lot of people say, golly, you know, you look at this and all that stuff. You know, it's hard at any level to win 20 games 4 years. And it's really 4 out of 5 because one of them was a completely wash where we didn't play a lot of games. I just said last year we got back on track from where we were at the first 3 years. And obviously, you know, I can sit up here and I can point to COVID, I can say injuries and all that other stuff. None of that matters. The matters is that we came off of, we got back on track, we just won 23 games, we just went to the NCAA, and we want to continue to build on that.
What kind of buzz did you feel when Dennis arrived in June? Dennis Parker.
Oh, okay. What's
What kind of buzz?
What kind of buzz?
Yeah, like how did you, I mean, how fast did he acclimate?
Oh man, he is. You guys will get a chance to watch us hopefully soon if Craig will allow you to practice. It's not me. Craig's the one that keeps you guys practicing. You know that. But he is. What makes Dennis Parker really, really unique is that he plays hard. You know, we had a workout this morning, and you know, a couple guys I didn't think played hard, which is uncharacteristic of a couple guys. And one thing I've always said is the hardest playing team typically gives us the best chance to win. And when you look at Dennis, he won't put you in the mindset of a freshman. He believes, he runs the floor, he's athletic, he can play multiple positions, he can guard multiple positions. So I'm really excited about him as a freshman. And I've actually, even when I talk now, I say we have 8 newcomers, and I consider him part of a transfer even though he's a freshman.
I was going to ask you, I mean, what position do you feel like he fits best right now, or is it just still that versatility that you're trying to figure out where he can go?
Yeah, I think he's going to play some small forward for us, and then also when we go, if we were to go small ball, I think he can play that Dorn role, be able to play some forward for us.
Did you kind of look at Cam Woods as maybe just too good to pass up, even if he does have to sit out a year?
No, you know, we had conversations. Cam's had a very unfortunate situation. When you think about Cam Woods, you know, I want to say he went to Troy. He decided to leave Troy, go to junior college, not knowing that goes to junior college. You know, had some family situations, and then he transfers to A&T. Well, he doesn't think, or he doesn't know that that may be his one-time transfer because he left Troy as a freshman. He goes to junior college, and then he enters back into college. He's thinking possibly when I transfer the next time, that's my first transfer. Well, we had those conversations up front. We talked about that. You know, we talked about here are the opportunities. You know, we would have to file a waiver for you to be eligible under the current situation. But if the waiver doesn't go through, then you have to, if you're going to come to NC State, you have to accept the fact that you're going to have to sit out a year like it used to be. And he was completely fine with that. And I tried to set the expectation where it was and make sure that we both understood this is what it could be. And you know, we should be filing a waiver for him soon, and we'll live with whatever the results are.
With so many new faces, Coach, do you have a kind of a leader that can pull it all together for you guys?
Yeah, I'm looking for that. You know, DJ Burns he's a great leader when he's catching that ball and he's scoring. On the other end, when we put him in ball screens, he's not such a great leader. And so we're trying to figure out, you know, who can step up and be their voice. You know, I don't know where it's going to come from right now. It's the coaches, and we're the loudest guys in practice. That will change come Monday because now someone else has to step in and make the calls and make the defensive calls and everything else. But I don't have that. I didn't know that until, you know, probably 2 months in when Jarkel Joyner became one of the best leaders that I probably coached in my life. And, you know, he was just, you know, I didn't know that. I just didn't know it. And he kind of took over. He took over, and, you know, little did I know he had started doing it in the locker room, but I didn't see it on the floor. And then all of a sudden he elevated. So my old coach always says the cream will rise to the top. So someone will become a leader.
So it's not a concern then, right?
Not a concern.
Are you able to share any details about Trey Parker's decision to go back to overtime elite?
I don't know if I can, I gotta watch what I say. I don't know if I can comment on Trey Parker.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
He signed.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay out of it. I don't have a problem sharing,
Sure.
but I don't think I can comment on it. from a compliance standpoint because he didn't show up day one of school.
Understood.
Yeah.
With,
The
with
compliance will get me in trouble for saying that part of it, so. So the player that you said, I don't, all right.
I want to ask a question about Cam, going back to him. I saw him a few times at A&T last year, and it seemed like he played his best against the ranked schools, the teams that were some of the best competition that they went against. If he does get a chance to play this year, what can he bring to the floor for NC State within the system?
Yeah, he's good. You don't average 17 points in Division I, no matter what level, unless you can really score the basketball. He's gotten a lot stronger. He's shooting the ball a little bit more consistent at this level. I think he would be good. He would be a great addition to our roster. And once again, I'll go back and say it. I don't know if he's going to be eligible or not, but I do think if he is, I think he can help us.
I don't know if you've ever had three wings who are all capable of getting double digits. Is this like a new toy with DJ, Casey, and Jaden?
Yeah, I mean, good players. I mean, Casey Borsell, I haven't said enough about him this summer. Man, what a great year that he had for us. And, as I talk about Jarkel Joyner and the impact that he had coming in, Casey had an impact for the jump that he made, and he's played well. Jay Taylor's going to be really good. I mean, we got some talented guys that can score the basketball. The biggest thing, as I told you before, is learning how to play, together. We lost two dynamic scorers. I don't know if I'll have in a long time, I don't know if I'll coach two guys that's in the backcourt that was as good as those guys at the same time. I mean, we're talking about 34 points a game, and sometimes when I go back and watch tape, which I do all the time, even up recently as 2 days ago, man, I almost want to cry. I mean, those guys were really good. I mean, to Quavion Smith, I can't say enough about him. Grateful that he came here. Grateful that people doubted him at 150 pounds when he decided to commit here. And look at the impact that he had in 2 years. And I'll go back and say Jarkel Joyner was tremendous. Those two guys really work well together not because of Quavion Smith, but more because of Jarkel Joyner, who was more of an older brother and kind of took him under his wing and was okay with a young kid taking a lot of shots, even though he was transferring in here.
You mentioned energy. At first glance, watching Muhammad some last year, the quick feet, kind of stazzy. How do you see him as a defensive force, and what does he have to kind of get more polished at?
He's been our most complete player from the summer until now. I mean, he's been really good, like talented, rebounds the basketball, can step out and shoot it, handles the ball on a break. He thinks he's a point guard. I know he's not, but he thinks he is. But he's been really good. Like I've been impressed with him. His work ethic has completely changed. When he got here, he wasn't into it as much, but now he's found some success through practice, and he's kind of taken off to another level. And so, he'll play some 4 and 5 for us. He won't play small forward like he may think, but he'll help us out a lot.
Did it help at all in the recruiting pitch between Middlebrooks and Diarra that DJ's going to play X amount of minutes? You have talked often about how many of those minutes might be, but he also might get into foul trouble. Was it easy to say, hey, you can come here and do what Dusan did that first month and a half and play those, 15 to 25 minutes at times?
No, I would never tell a guy who is not committed here yet that DJ is not going to play a lot and he's going to be in foul trouble in case he went somewhere else. So we talked about, there's an opportunity to play. We don't have a starting, power forward. There's opportunities to play. There's opportunities to play minutes at the 5. There's opportunities to play minutes at the 4. But, I like Ben. He wanted a different role. He wanted the opportunity. He was stuck behind a really good basketball player in P.J. Hall, and he wanted the opportunity to play some power forward, and that's why he's here.
With DJ,
and he rebounded well against us too. That helped him too.
with DJ, I mean, obviously this has been an ongoing conversation, but is there anything that you've been able to do over the last few months or can do over the next few months to just try to find ways that he can stay on the floor more, keep himself on the floor more?
Yeah, Luke, it's, man, he is, I may have, I know this is tough, you guys can print it too, I may have the best back to the basket post guy. And it's so hard, man. He is tough. He's lefty. He can score it in different ways. You don't get many assists off of him because he'll catch it and dribble 4 or 5 times to be able to score the basketball. But we've talked about, because he's got so good, his hands are so good that he reaches a lot. Even on ball screens, he's always thinking he can pick somebody. And what we've done is, hey man, you can't do that. You got to wall up. You got to do a good job. You can't reach. You got to stay in the game. You have to do your work early on the defensive end. Get in position to do your work early. And a lot of his fouls don't come off the guy he's guarding. It's our guards getting blown by and he's reaching or not walling up or jumping when he's in a restricted area. So part of that is we talked about our guards. You got to really guard the basketball. And then DJ, when they do come in, you can't give up stupid fouls.
Did you ever have any conversations with Paul Brazo or Brian Kersey about the way that DJ was officiated, especially in terms of the charge calls?
Yeah, 150 times. I think he gets clobbered. You guys know it. But he plays through it. What the biggest conversation that we've had is he catches the ball almost close to the 3-point line. You guys have written about it, so don't act like it's a surprise. And you shouldn't be able to have a closed elbow while the guy's there. Technically, he's a perimeter player at that time. Once he gets close to the block is when you can use your elbow. And so we've talked about that, and he's warned. And it got a little better at the end. But guys were doing this out at the 3-point line, which is not allowed because he's no different than any guard when you catch the ball out that far. And so we talked about that part of it. And I think Paul understood. I didn't need Paul to understand as much. I needed Kersey to understand so he could make sure that the other referees really understood what we were talking about.
What kind of separation have you seen with the new guys as far as workouts and what you've seen from them throughout the offseason?
You meaning playing wise?
Yeah, as far as who's standing out, what you've seen from them.
Yeah, I think everybody's had different days. And that's why I think this team, we have more depth because there is nobody that's like, I think Mo had a week where he kind of separated himself from the pack. And then obviously he came back down. But I think the good thing about this team is that, one day DJ Horn can have one. We've had great competition. And typically what's happening is I've been going, 4 days for 1 hour. And I've kind of kept the same teams. And what I like about them is when one team loses, they talk trash to each other. And then obviously we keep the same teams and they come in and they perform and they play. I think the competition which will make this team really special is because they can push each other and there are no clear guys above another.
In honor of Joe, how's the schedule? Is it net worthy?
Yeah, I think so. You think about our schedule, the tough thing about it is and this is a rarity, it doesn't happen, we had 4 or 5 quad fours in our league. And I think that was tough. We had some traditional power programs in our league that just didn't have great years last year. And then when you get caught playing those folks at home versus on the road, it makes it tough. I like our non-conference schedule. I like the teams that we got, but I do think our league will be a lot better, and I think it takes away some of those quad fours that we may have had.
What do you think the ceiling is for this team this year?
I was going to say something funny, but I won't say that. Not to you, but I think the team has a chance to be really, really exciting to watch. I think what you'll see is a lot of versatility. I think we led the ACC in fast break points at almost 15 a game, if I'm not mistaken. I want to play faster if I can. I don't know that we can get more than 15 points a game. The one thing about the team that we had last year, as fast as we played, we really took care of the basketball. I think this group has a chance to be that type of group. We could be better defensively, which I hope is the case, because we have a lot of people that can fly around and guard multiple positions.
When you're trying to get guys to play together, personalities can kind of enter into it. From what you've seen from the personalities and the new faces that you have, do you like what you've seen?
Yeah, sponges. I think everybody's been sponges. You guys know me. And sometimes you love me, sometimes you hate me for it. We play hard. We might not do everything right, but when we put a product on the floor, they're going to play hard. And I think what this group is, the personalities, I've completely checked the egos, here's what you have to do. You have to compete to play for me. One of the things I told them, this morning was, it's not even the guy who makes the most shots who I love. It's the guy who competes every possession and plays all the time. And you've seen guys over the past years who wasn't great scorers. Greg Gant did a great job playing for us, didn't score a lot of baskets, but he played a meaningful role for us. And I think that's the biggest thing with these guys is there is no egos. Most of our guys out of the 7 transfers are looking for another opportunity to prove that they were, should have gotten more playing time at their last place.
I once asked DJ, do you see yourself as a point guard? He
What
said,
did he say? I want to know that.
He said, I score.
He scores, okay.
He scores. He doesn't see himself as a point guard.
What do you think about that?
How do you kind of
More
see
of a
him?
two-guard.
I see him as a passer. Now, his assist to turnover ratio is not great. But think about this now. He makes every big pass and big play that you need to. We'll run the offense through him at times where he can become a passer and all that other stuff. I do think he scores. He's different. He's a lefty. He's got great soft touch. His footwork is really good. But we will run some things where he'll be able to make some plays out of the post by passing the ball. And he's going to get all type of, double teams and everything else because he has all year long.
How do you see LJ Thomas, who at this time last year hadn't played it in a year? I imagine he's made huge strides just by being active for a full season.
Yeah, I need LJ Thomas and Breon Pass to learn from Jaquavion Smith and more so Jarkel Joyner. Like he made it rough for those guys in practice. Like it was hard to get the ball on the floor. They couldn't run an offense. And so what I'm trying to get them to do is, hey, this is where you learn. You learn from an upperclassman. I know we're in the world of transfers, but you learn from an upperclassman how to play, how to compete, how to be a good ACC player. And I want them guys to I want them to think back to the days when they couldn't run an offense and I had to take Jarkel Joyner off of them because we couldn't even practice. And so I'm trying to get those guys to kind of take on that role.
Do you have someone you would trust right now as a top on-ball defender, disruptor?
Yeah, I like Jay Taylor. Last year I said that Casey Morcell would be on the all-defensive team, and Casey didn't listen to me enough. He's a really good defensive player, but I would say Jaden or Casey could play that role more than anything, more so Jaden than Casey.
How about the enthusiasm this offseason juxtaposed to last year? You guys are coming off a great year. What are you seeing from the fans? The enthusiasm that was in the arena last season, do you think you can build off of that?
Well, everybody loves to win, including myself. And so, going into last year, there was not a lot to cheer about. You had to trust the fact that I was going to build a roster that was going to be really good and compete. And we did that. I give the coaches a lot of credit. They put the roster together last year, and we had a really competitive year. We were back to playing, as I've always said, the first 2 or 3 years that we were here. But it's exciting. My process hasn't changed. Whether we won a lot of games or lose a lot of games, I go back and figure out how we can get better and, think about the things that we did well, the things that we really need to work on, get some players and compete hard. And that's what we've done in the off season. And I'm really excited about, practice. We'll go tomorrow at 8 a.m. Some coaches will make Saturday an hour or Sunday 2 hours where they save their days. But I kind of want to make it, just like it's the original start of practice, like it used to be. Obviously, there's no, midnight madness leading up to it. But, when we get after it, I think we go at 2 or 2:30 on Monday. And I want our guys to have that mindset that here's 30 opportunities that we get a chance to practice to be ready for our first games.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.